Hello and welcome back to live coverage of the Apex Gaming $5,000 Team Trios Modern Open here in sunny Caldwell, Ohio. Well, it's raining. Uh, I'm Todd,
Rainy Caldwell, Ohio.
rainy Caldwell, Ohio. I'm Todd Tandy Anderson, joined by Ross Miriam. Say hi, Ross.
Hi, Ross.
4 rounds down. We are getting to the last 2 rounds of Swiss, and we're going to be punching some tickets into the top 8. We've been seeing all sorts of cool modern decks, but it's mostly stuff that we've seen before. Ross, I know that this is going to be a different match, though.
These are two teams that have some spice. Now, it might not appear that way because one of these teams is 3 Boros Energy players, but they have brought a card from Edge of Eternities in their Boros Energy deck that is Scout for Survivors.
Yeah, really powerful 3 mana sorcery, returns some creatures back from the graveyard and puts +1/+1 counters on them. And a deck full of Ocelot, Prize, and Guide of Souls, that's got to be pretty good.
Yeah, you can even just return a Seasoned Pyromancer if you wanted to. Voice of Victory plus Ocelot Pride, Guide Pride. There's a lot of combinations that end up being really, really good. So, very interesting card. All 3 players have 1 copy in their main deck and a 2nd copy in the sideboard.
Yeah, but we haven't actually even said who we're watching yet. So let's talk about the players we're watching, the matchups we're going to be watching as well.
Yeah. So our team Boros Energy is going to be the team of Kristen Calabaugh, Edward Rojas, and RJ Marino. They are going to be up against the team of Dylan Pettit, Gabe Abadi, and Dylan Glendening. We'll be focused on the Edward Rojas Gabe Abadi match. Of course, Gabe Abadi, a mainstay here on the Apex series. Always, brings some spice in Modern, and this tournament is no different. Playing Affinity, but with 4 copies of the newly printed Pinnacle Emissary. This is a card that can really power out artifacts very quickly in Modern when you have Mox Opal, Mox Amber, Mishra's Bauble, and that allows Kappa Cannoneer to be cast as early as turn 1.
Look, Warp, we haven't really seen it yet, right? It's a brand new card, but it allows you to essentially cheat something into play a little bit more quickly than normal. And in this case, it's going to be able to generate a bunch of these artifact tokens, which is going to fuel all of those stock casts and Kappa Cannoneers just like so much more quickly than we're used to.
Yeah, to really kickstart the deck's engine way more than, their opponents will be used to. So this is a matchup where I think Ed has to really, be careful and make sure to try to contain that engine because the Boros Energy deck is going to be better going long, I think. They have more card advantage, they have more interaction, but an early Kappa Cannoneer can win any game.
All right, well, the players are already in the feature match area and ready to go, so let's not make them wait anymore and head down there ourselves for round number 5. We're going to be starting on the middle match. That's Gabe Abadi on your left and Eddie Rojas on your right. Eddie was actually a student of mine for quite some time. Took a step back from the game to focus on work over the last few months, but was glad to see him back out battling, and him and his team are doing quite well today at 3-1.
Okay, Abadi leading off with the Tomio, so not a super explosive start, but one that can portend an excellent turn 2.
Yeah, and if you don't have anything to do with a bunch of zeros, you don't have to deploy them yet. So a body may have some more explosiveness on turn 2 with a 0-2. Looks like he also took a mulligan as well, only 4 cards in hand. So a little light on total resources. Ocelot Pride for Eddie. We're going to send back to a body. We can attack and make a clue. I see a portable hole peeking out over there. So this looks like it's going to be a really good turn for Gabe.
Yeah, Portable Hole Emery would be an excellent reply to that Ocelot Pride. Continue to press his advantage, answer Ed's threat.
I see a thought cast in there. If he has a 0, I believe he can go Portable Hole, Attack, Treasure, 0, Land, Thought cast.
Yeah, could go that route as well. There's the Portable Hole on the Ocelot Pride. Now the Tomio comes in and makes a clue.
I think he's 1 short, actually. My apologies. I see a Tormod's Crypt over there. We're going to play Scalding Tarn and pass the turn.
Oh, I thought there was an Emery over there.
I think it's 2 lands and a Thought cast, so
okay,
we'll get there. Not quite the explosive start we were expecting from a body, but Portable Hole does contain the 1-drop from Eddie, and that Ocelot Pride is not going to be too much of a problem now.
Yeah, if Ed doesn't have an answer to this Tomio, that's going to give Abadi the lead in the attrition fight. Not normally something the Affinity decks do all that well, because Tomio and Emery are pretty easy to answer, but when your opponent doesn't have the removal, they are great at generating repeated cascading card advantage.
Eddie gonna crack a fetch. Believe that's a flooded strand. I'm not sure. Gonna go get a plains though. Sacred Foundry plains. Looking to cast a 2-drop perhaps. Now, Ajani is the go-to 2-drop in the deck, but I've seen this other card popping up all over the place, including on Misplaced Ginger's stream, and that's Voice of Victory. That's not what's coming down here, but
This is the dashed Ragavan.
ooh, and that's going to get a card off the top and a treasure, so we can actually void cast that off the treasure if we like, and then it'll be there to be cast later on, I believe.
Yeah, it would be.
Okay, not going to do it. Just
Oh
going
no,
to
warp is only from hand. Okay.
excuse me. All right, so that warp card. What's the name on it again?
Pinnacle Emissary.
Pinnacle Emissary. Let's get that one on the screen so we can talk about it a little bit while these players are just kind of jockeying back and forth for position. This is the new Edge of Eternity's card that is kind of turbocharging these Affinity decks, and this is the first time that I am seeing this card in play or being played. This is the pre-release weekend, after all. What's your opinion on the card, Ross?
I think the card's potential in these decks is very, very high. So it's so good at enabling Mox Opal because it's an artifact itself. So turn 1 Emissary, Mox Opal, make a token. You have Metalcraft.
All right, we're going to attack and make another clue token with the Tamio. I see Mishra's Bauble, Tormod's Crypt. So we can play both of those and then play Thoughtcast for... Or we don't have to. We can just play one of them and then play Thoughtcast for 1 mana. That's going to transform Tamio. Thoughtcast Tamio, a match made in heaven.
Yeah. Gabe has enough clues for now. It's time to start ticking up this Tamio. Maybe rebuy that Thoughtcast for some more card draw.
Going to use Mishra's Bauble to peek at Edward's top card. Going to deploy another Mishra's Bauble. Going to look at his own top of deck. Okay. And jam some Lava Spur Boots after making sure that Tamio gets ticked up to 4. Land for turn and pass back. We're going to draw 2 from the baubles. Back to Eddie.
Okay, pretty good turn for a body. He is winning this game in a very different way than I expected, winning on this card advantage axis. But that's kind of what Tamio does. It gives a lot of decks this alternate game plan if it goes unanswered. And the Boros energy deck, normally pretty good at answering smaller creatures, but Ed did not have one this game and is suffering the consequences.
Yeah, for a 1-drop, Tamio is certainly stellar. Here, even just next turn's threatening to -3 and get back Thoughtcast and draw 2 more cards. Can kind of keep ticking up and pushing towards ultimate, all while shrinking the potential threats from Edward's side of things over the next few turns. Lava Spur Boots is kind of scary too. What happens if Kappa Cannoneer comes next turn, huh?
Kappa Cannoneer, Urza's Saga. Even giving Emery haste would be nice.
Eddie gonna just cast Ragavan here. Not gonna dash it this time. Wants to use that mana a bit more efficiently. Plus wants to get the Ragavan down permanently. Gonna go fetching here for land number 3. Still have 3 mana available thanks to the treasure token from the dash Ragavan last turn. Ross, it's been, what, a little over a year since MH3. I know we had some discussions about the best 1-drops all time. Ragavan, pretty high on that list, if not at number 1. How do you think it compares now to the other 1-drops that have been let into the format in the last year?
I mean, those cards are much worse standalone cards. Guide of Soul's Ocelot Pride draw so much strength from being paired with each other. I think if either one had been printed alone, they would see much less play.
That's a good point.
Ragavan is a very strong standalone card, as is Tamio.
Often the only 1-drop in some of these decks, like the Domain Zoo deck. Here is a Flage that knocks 3 damage off of the Tamio. Back to a body's turn. We're going to play and equip a Tamio with a Lava Spur Boot so we can play defense with a little Hexproof, 1/4, or we can potentially attack and get another clue token.
Yeah, so a seasoned scholar and inquisitive student around for a body. Looks like he's going to leave the inquisitive student back to check this Ragavan. 1/3, a very good blocker against the 2/1.
Graveyard not very full yet for that Flage in the graveyard, but we know that it'll get there quickly thanks to fetch lands and surveil lands, elegant parlors, and such.
Yeah, and for as much as a body has done in the early turns of this game, he hasn't put much, if any, pressure on Edward's life total.
That's just the nature of Tamio. It's a 0 power 1 drop.
Exactly. But that means that Rojas has a lot of time to get
Yes.
back into this game, maybe set up that Flage, maybe play something like a Seasoned Pyromancer, a Johnny Bombardment. There's a lot of really powerful plays in this Boros deck that can get him back into this.
All right. Here's Seasoned Pyromancer, and that's going to meet Metallic Rebuke. Let's get Metallic Rebuke on screen. This is a really powerful counterspell. Let's see. I believe it's not Darksteel. What was the
It's from Scars of Mirrodin.
Scars of Mirrodin block originally? And then basically Improvise lets you tap artifacts to cast it, very similar to the Kappa Cannoneer ability, or exactly the same as the Kappa Cannoneer.
No, it's not Scars of Mirrodin. Improvises later, isn't it?
Ether
Revolt.
Revolt.
Yeah, that's it. That makes sense.
Ether Revolt, excuse me. But Spyro gets countered, and then we're going to go back to a body. Starts off by cracking a clue, and then going to take up the Tamio.
Has to be careful now. Doesn't really want to draw a third card this turn, lest he transform the Inquisitive Student and then have to lose one of the Tamios.
All right, finds an Emery, which we can cast, but I don't believe we have a mana to equip it with the Lava Spur Boots, so won't be able to get back anything from the graveyard this turn. Looks like we are going to attack and make a clue, though.
Yeah. The Emery checks the Ragavan because of the Tamio Shrink, so doesn't need the Inquisitive Student to stay untapped this turn.
That's a good point. I think holding both back would be a little bit safer. A single removal spell here from Eduardo is going to make this attack a bit more devastating, especially if you hit something really good off of the Ragavan, but maybe there's nothing really that good to hit, considering he's fighting against an Affinity deck, which is just ideologically completely different than his own. Tormod's Crypt going to eat the Flage, so nothing for Eddie to bring back now.
Yeah, Abadi was very on top of that. Let Rojas sack and the fetch and surveil to the graveyard, but does not let him untap because there was also a Seasoned Pyromancer in there that could have potentially netted Rojas a little bit of value. Abadi shuts that down to the crypt, and he's done a very good job of picking apart every aspect of Rojas's game plan here, and is now very much in the driver's seat to take down game one.
Hi, Ross. I need some expert analysis. How does Voice of Victory work against the Tamio's plus ability? Because it does shrink opposing creatures. Is it a static shrink or only attacking creatures? How does it work with creatures generated during combat?
I believe it's when they attack. So, yeah, whenever a creature attacks, you are a planeswalker. So the mobilized tokens are never declared as attackers. They enter attacking.
Interesting.
They will not suffer the shrink from the Seasoned Scholar.
All right, we'll have to see if Eddie knows that interaction and attacks with the Voice of Victory next turn. But for now, we're going to go back to a body. He finds Urza Saga, and that's the one you were talking about with the Lava Spur Boots. Could potentially spell disaster here in a very short period of time.
Yeah, that's really the last aspect of the game plan that Abadi needed. He needed a Saga or a Kappa Cannoneer to start putting pressure on Ed's life total, and now he has that. So every piece of the puzzle has been assembled. At this point, it's about being careful, maybe finding one or two more pieces of interaction, and getting this game over with, moving on to sideboarding.
So we saw the Galvanic Discharge take care of the Emery, but we did not see Ragavan attack. That's pretty interesting. What do you think that was about?
I don't know. I guess scared of the Lava Spur Boots, but there's not much that the Ragavan is blocking.
Okay, so we're going to pass back to Eddie, and he's going to draw for turn. Finds an Arena of Glory. I wonder if he has a red creature in hand to give haste, or a creature in hand to give haste to, excuse me. I believe that's Goblin Bombardment?
It is.
Ooh. Now with those mobilized tokens, we can start doing some serious damage, but the ward from the Lava Spur boost might make that a little bit more difficult than it needs to be.
There's also the Tamio Seasoned Scholar on 7, so I got to deal at least 1 damage to that, or the ultimate will definitely end the game.
Okay, so these creatures are attacking, and a body going to block one of them. Eddie can sack it to bombardment to deal 1 to the Tamio, which he does. Does another to the Tamio. And then the creature itself shrunk to 0 power, so we're going to pass back. Body draws for turn. Chapter 2 of Urza Saga. Finds a second Urza Saga off the top. Now we're cooking.
So I'm counting 3 artifacts on the battlefield right now. Is there a clue that's sitting around, or was that a clue
next to, there's a clue next to his hand that's
yeah,
in play.
that's in play.
And then Portable Hole, Shadow Spear,
So
Lava
that's
Spur.
4 artifacts before the construct. The construct will be a 5/5 here.
And he has a Metallic Rebuke in hand as well, so he's maybe covered from the next really bad thing from Eddie's side. Maybe not, though. A lot of mana on Eddie's side.
Okay, Lava Spur Boots gets equipped to the construct, so this is a 6/5 attacking.
All right, Eddie down to 9 after all those fetch lands and shock lands. Moves back to Lava Spur Boots. This is going to put the shields down for that Metallic Rebuke, but as we said, a lot of lands on Eddie's side, and it is counted unless you pay 3.
Yeah, there's no cards that cost more than 3 in the main deck, so with 6 lands, that Metallic Rebuke is quite dead.
Well, if it's like Seasoned Pyromancer, draw 2 into something, you get to counter the something. But I think moving it back makes the most sense because it stops the Ragavan.
Now,
Eddie with a big smile on his face, but you know that's a I'm in trouble smile.
oh yeah.
Body, a really strong player here on the Apex series, but often plays wacky decks. And I would consider this a bit of a wacky deck, but it looks pretty strong so far.
He's seems to be a Mox Opal truther. Plays a lot of Asmo, a lot of Affinity.
Yeah. Look, it's easy to be in love with Mox Opal. So Eddie here is, I think, assuming that the Tamio is shrinking the tokens and he's just sacking the tokens to deal damage.
Yeah. Also, Todd, the Metallic Rebuke was 100% dead. There was a Voice of Victory in play.
Oh, gosh. I'm so dumb.
Okay, I missed it too.
I'm
It's
so
okay.
dumb. All right, well, we're going to float a mana off of this Urza Saga because we can activate the other one and then give it haste, and we want to make sure we can use all of our mana this turn.
So there's Aether Spellbomb, which can clear away Rojas' only blocker. So I think this will be a lethal attack.
Okay, bounce it. Bounce it.
The second construct will pump these up to 6/6s. Then you give haste to the new one, and that's 13.
Yeah, because he has 1 mana floating from the original Saga,
Yep.
and he can move it over.
The Tamio could come in too and make another artifact, make this 15. The
Yeah.
body decides that's something he wants to do.
And Eduardo packs it in. Game number 1 going to go to Gabriel Abadi in
Yeah.
that powerful Affinity strategy.
Very impressive game from this Affinity deck. Didn't have the explosive start, just led on a turn 1 Tamio and really rode the advantage that Tamio generated. Tamio drew a bunch of extra cards. It shrunk Ed's creatures. It forced him to play a little awkwardly to stop the ultimate. And in the end, that game just wasn't close. Abadi was in the driver's seat from turn 1 and never gave it up.
All right, as these players look to their sideboard for some help, I'm going to ask Ross for some help. How do you think Eddie in this Boros strat is going to sideboard against the Affinity deck? Does he have any meltdowns or anything just like really hammering?
There's some good cards in here. So his sideboard is 2 Blood Moon, 1 Celestial Purge, 2 Clarion Conqueror, 1 Ghost Vacuum, 2 High Noon, 2 Molten Rain, 1 Scout for Survivors to supplement that one in the main deck, 2 Wear Tear, and 2 Wrath of the Skies. Clarion Conqueror and Wrath of the Skies, both incredible in the matchup.
Yeah.
And the full 2 copies of both, you often see lists with 1 of each, 1 of one, 2 of the other. This is sort of maxing out on these kinds of effects. So Rojas, coming prepared for these matchups, has 2 copies of each. I would also consider the Wear Tears. Almost assuredly bring those in because this is a Saga deck.
Mhm.
So sometimes you can get a
Get
2 for 1 out of that as well.
Yeah,
Rest of the sideboard, I'm not too enamored
Sometimes
with.
you just have a white mana open early, and your opponent plays Urza Saga as like their 2nd or 3rd land, and you can kill it with that Chapter 1 trigger on the stack, and they can't use it for mana. And I don't know what to tell you, but sometimes that just destroys your whole plan.
Yeah. Oh, is it 1 mana Stone Rain is good?
Oh yeah. All right, other side of the table, gave a body on that affinity strat. Does he have anything that's specifically geared to beat this Boros aggro strat?
He's definitely got some good ones too. It's 3 Consign to Memory, 2 Damping Sphere, 3 Dispatch, 2 Force Negation, 2 Harbinger of the Seas, 1 Soul Guide Lantern, and 2 Whip Flare. The Dispatches and the Whip Flares, all the creature removal against this Boros deck, going to be excellent. I imagine the rebukes will come out. Things like Haywire might come out if you don't care that much about bombardment. And so you get some action, some better interaction with all of that removal. I would also strongly consider the Soul Guide Lantern over Tormod's Crypt. This is not necessarily a matchup where you have to be that explosive, especially post-board when you have all this removal. And the Soul Guide Lantern being able to cantrip after picking off a Flage with the trigger has a lot of utility, I think. And maybe you just want both. If Flage is that important, you just want 2 pieces of graveyard interaction, so you don't necessarily have to rely on your Urza Sagas to find them, because your opponent is going to have some answers to Urza Saga, and we know Ed does with those 2 Wear Tears and 2 Wrath of the Skies.
As these players are shuffling up and sideboarding for game number 2, I'd like to take this time to thank sponsors for the Apex series and this weekend's festivities. We are sponsored by Once Upon a Galaxy. Blast off with this new mobile game from the creators of Storybook Brawl. Louis Scott Vargas, Sam Pardee, Matt Place, these are names you may know from Magic the Gathering, all have their hands in this pie, and man, it's fun.
Yeah.
You can draft your favorite characters with cool space themes. Check out the Battle Pass if you'd like to get the new captain, the Boy Who Cried Werewolf, but don't fret. You can get the Boy Who Cried Werewolf 2 months from now if you don't want to buy the Battle Pass.
Yeah. And if you're not into mobile gaming, the game is also coming to Steam very soon, sometime in early August, so you can play Once Upon a Galaxy on PC as well.
We're also sponsored by Moxfield.com. Moxfield is a great place to build and share deck lists with your friends, and we post all of our deck lists from the Apex series on Moxfield. We are sponsored by SpiceRack GG. SpiceRack.gg is a great piece of tournament software you can use to find a tournament near you, or if you are a tournament organizer or store, you can run tournaments yourself. If that interests you, check out SpiceRack.gg today. And last but not least, we are sponsored by Ultimate Guard, the industry leader when it comes to TCG supplies, from the Katana sleeves to the Archive deck box. Make sure to check your local game store for Ultimate Guard products today. All right, Ross, game 1 went to the Affinity strat. Who's getting game number 2?
This Boros deck on the play with these powerful 1-drops, it can be tough to stop. So I think if a body doesn't have the early removal from his sideboard or a really explosive emissary draw, this one could be tough. I'm going to give the edge to Rojas to force a game 3, but the edge is small.
Yeah, the edge is Eternity.
No, it's of Eternity.
The Edging Eternity.
That is not the name.
The Edge of Eternals.
On the edge of glory.
All right, players here are ready to go. Let's head on down. Game number 2. Rojas going to be on the play. A body going to be looking for a portable hole, and I see one. Players may take a mulligan here. Looks like we're ready to go. Just a land pass, no 1-drop for Rojas. A body has to be thrilled about that.
Yeah, I mean, even with Portable Hole in hand, you're still happy to see no 1-drop. That Portable Hole will be very useful later on. Can hit Najani, Goblin Bombardment, anything like that. And the more time you can buy to set up your own engine, the better.
A tapped Hallowed Fountain on 1. You don't see that every day. You don't see a tapped Chocolate on turn 1 very often in this format.
Not these days. Most of the time you see a tapped Surveil land.
Yeah, or a fetch land.
Yeah, and there's the Surveil land from Edward Rojas. So another slow start really from both players, but notably no Tomio for a body. So he's not going to be generating card advantage during this slow start, and that means the advantage is firmly on the Boros Energy side.
All right, Parlor stays on top. Looks like a Guide of Souls pickup. Gonna maybe wait to deploy that if we have a 2-drop. But here it is. Gonna enter the fray. Gonna go back to a body. Picks up a Thought Cast. No artifacts in play just yet, but we can play a bunch of those zeros whenever we feel like it. Here's Urza Saga.
The wear tear check.
Yeah. I think he said where? You got where?
Okay.
Portable hole on your dude.
Guide of Souls down, so body keeping the battlefield clear, looking to take advantage of the Urza Saga, leverage that for card advantage, and has a Thought Cast.
Yeah, the 2 free artifacts here, Mox Opal and Mox Amber, allowing for that Thought Cast here after removal on the opposing creature. This is a stellar start for a body.
But if there's a Wrath of the Skies in Rojas' hand, this start means nothing.
Well, for Gabriel Body's sake, I hope we're not about to see a massacre. Because that Wrath of the Skies would be a straight up dunk.
The old 4-for-1 on turn 3.
Yeah. A 4-for-1 that blows up your second land.
Yeah. It gets back the Guide of Souls for Ed.
Ross, do you have any experience playing with or against Pernicious Deed?
Yes, I do.
So,
I've lost to Pernicious Deed in Legacy.
oh yeah. Well, when Pernicious Deed was in, I guess like extended for a little while.
Yeah.
Affinity was a really popular deck for a little while too, and I played a lot of Affinity during Block Constructed, so I loved that deck. And every time my opponent played a Pernicious Deed on turn 3, they blew up all my lands for 0, and it made me want to throw up.
Not your Darksteel Citadels, though. There it is, Wrath of the Skies.
Boom.
Now it's a body
How
who
many?
wants to throw up.
How many? 1.
Yeah, X equals 1. Get all 4.
Oh, but you don't have to pay the energy. That's what a body asks. He's like, how much energy do you
Yeah.
pay? No board for a body. Now, let's see if he can rebuild. Has a steam vents, a Thoughtcast hanging out. There's a Mishra's Bauble. May want to hold on to that to help fuel up some stuff in a minute, though.
I want to concede and save time for game 3.
Oh, you think a body is a tight concessioner?
He is absolutely not.
No, he'll play it out for camera time.
He is a weekend warrior.
All right, Bauble takes a peek. We have a fetch land, so doing that in case we want to shuffle it away, but we want to keep it, so we play Stevens tapped instead. Back to Rojas. Wow, Wrath of the Skies looks so good sometimes. All right, Rojas up to 4 mana now with that fetch land. I see a Static Prison hanging out. Oh, they're having too much fun. I don't like this. We need to get serious. Serious face. Come on now. 2 mana. A Johnny comes down. Gonna make a 2/1 cat along with it. What's the surname on a Johnny?
That is Nakatl Avenge? Nakatl Pariah. Avenger is the
backside.
Planeswalker. Yep.
Nice. It's a good one. 2/1 cat. Guide of Souls gains 2 energy and 2 life.
No second creature to try to get to the 3rd energy for Guide, but a Johnny is definitely a solid play.
You know, if a body were lower on life, Eddie might have had a potential decision. He has a Static Prison in hand, and you can technically play it with no targets just to gain that 2 energy. Not that relevant right now. You definitely want to save it, but that could come up in the future.
I don't think you got the energy unless you target something.
Oh, well, my bad. All right, back to a body. There's a Kappa Cannoneer. Looks like Mox Opal Emery. We have the new card.
That's Pinnacle Emissary. That's a card that can help him rebuild and get to that that Kappa Cannoneer quite quickly.
Yeah, we're going to get Mox Opal down. That's immediately going to allow us to make a mana. If we have another 0, we can play the Kappa Cannoneer this turn, but I don't think that we have another 0.
Now, notably, these drone tokens that Emissary makes are 1/1s with flying, but they can only block creatures with flying.
Yeah, not to be confused with Thopters.
Yeah.
These guys only engage in aerial combat.
Now, there's an Emery, but no other artifacts for a body. So, the Kappa Cannoneer, I guess, could be cast next turn if there's a 0 in the yard. And we know there is. There's Amber and a second Mox Opal. So the Amber will be enough to cast Kappa next turn. Might be a little bit late.
I think so, especially if Eddie has any big follow-up here.
And if Ed has a removal spell for the Emery, that would be a big game.
Yeah, I see a Flage, and I know about that Static Prison, so has it rolled up, so to speak. Here's Static Prison.
Okay.
Emery down.
So up to 4 energy, so can safely pay for Guide of Souls and have an energy back to pay for the prison next turn. That is the ideal. May just throw this Flage upstairs, set up to escape it.
Yeah. All right, so we are going to jump and keep 1 energy around. It's going to be 3, 4, 5, 6 damage coming across. A body down to 12.
And there's a Seasoned Pyromancer. Discards Pyromancer and
A land.
land. I think it's an Arid Mesa.
Okay, going to draw 2 and make a 1/1 token.
Yeah, that's 2 more life and 2 more energy. And finds a land off the draw from Pyromancer.
Okay, back a body's way. Kappa Cannoneer in hand. I see Otawara. I see Howled Fountain. Gonna shock in. Improvise 2. Here's Kappa Cannoneer. Gonna come down and give itself a counter. And now every time a body plays an artifact, it gets +1/+1 unblockable. Let's get Kappa Cannoneer on the screen. This is I don't know the original set it was printed in, but it was legacy only from a supplemental set for a while. Reprinted in Modern Horizons 3. Hasn't really made that much noise in Modern as a whole, but we've seen it already win one of our Modern Opens here at Apex.
Yeah,
Franklin
definitely.
Folks, right?
Yep, the last one before the Underworld Breach ban.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, as I said earlier, with Pinnacle Emissary, we might see more Kappa Cannoneers in Modern's future because it's a card that you really need to dedicate your deck and build around with so that you can cast it on turn 2, turn 3 consistently. Emissary is a card that definitely helps you do that while being a pretty powerful engine in its own right.
All right, we're going to draw for turn, and now the Static Prison's ability should be on the stack, and we need to pay for it before doing anything else, or else it's going to die. All right, we need to do something about this, I think, because this is a detrimental trigger. What do you think, Ross? Mistrigger detrimental. Should we stop?
There we go.
All right, pays for it. No harm, no foul. Count it.
I knew we'd figure it out eventually.
Usually do. It's a really weird timing. It's a really weird timing compared to what most Magic cards do. Beginning of your first main phase?
Yeah, we've seen a move towards a lot of first main phase triggers.
Well, the whole point of upkeep is that's where you pay upkeep, right? That's, for me, that's the whole point of the phase. All right, fetch land here. Now we do have another Spyro in the graveyard, so we can just pay 5 here, make 2 tokens, and get 2 more energy, and that allows us to jump another creature.
So you could jump the first Season Pyromancer, get in for 7. Could also attack with the cat token, because you definitely don't mind if a body blocks that. Oh, second Ajani, that's an excellent draw.
Yeah, this might just be game over. We're going to get another cat. This one's got Summoning Sickness. We go to 4 energy. This is going to transform the Ajani that's in play.
It'll transform either one. You keep one, and that one transforms.
Sure. The legend rule on the Ajani is just such a sick sequence for this card and this deck.
Yeah, so now 5 creatures in play. Oh, he's going to make
He's
us
going to kill the
6th and
Kappa
then pay
Cannoneer and
the
then
ward.
pay Ward 4? First time in history? Pay Ward 4?
That's insane.
Yeah, battlefield now clear, and we can just smash on in for, looks like 10 damage, but I haven't done the maths yet. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So it's going to leave a body at 1.
Yeah.
This is just mislethal, though, right? We
Yeah,
should just have gone face.
Yeah, I could have gone upstairs, and then the flying creatures would have been lethal. And yeah, you're right. A body is going to stay at 1 life.
I don't know if he can come back from this.
Yeah, even his sweeper is Whip Flare, and there are 2 creatures on the battlefield that survive it.
A body knows. Just going to do a quick peek. Pack it in. Game
Yeah.
number 3 coming, and body defeated. Not necessarily by the creatures that in play, but definitely by that Wrath of Skies on turn number 3.
Yeah, completely devastating play. A body was ahead, and the Wrath of the Skies decimated his board and gave Ed all the time in the world to develop his own aggressive game plan.
All right, if we could get the backup match result from our spotter, it looks like RJ Marino and Dylan Glendening are finished with their match. All right, looks like Dylan Glendening, that's Gabe Body's teammate on your left with the Belcher deck, did win that match.
Very tough matchup for Boros, so no surprise to see Belcher taking that one down.
You know all about that Belcher deck. You've been playing it like crazy on your stream lately, right?
It's
Twitch.tv/RCMarian.
It's one of the reasons to play Belcher, the very strong Boros matchup. Now, the move to more Clarion Conquerors in the sideboard has definitely helped Boros out.
Clarion Conquerors is so sick.
But the matchup is still tough.
So, how much experience do you have playing against the card Linvala, Keeper of Silence?
Todd.
That's your girl?
You know how much
You were a
experience I
Potter,
have.
right?
I was a Potter, and I was a Mavericker in Legacy.
Oh, gosh.
We had 2 Linvalas in our sideboard for like 8 months.
I forgot.
You only brought them in the mirror, like 2 other minor matchups.
Yeah, and it was so strong.
It was unbelievable.
It was so strong.
You had to save a swords for it.
Yeah. And now, Clarion Conquer is essentially the same thing as that Linvala Keeper of Silence, but costs 1 less mana and affects artifacts as well.
It's incredible.
So strong.
One of the best hate creatures we've seen in recent years.
So he would be a guest at the Haters Ball?
He would be the guest of honor. Guest of honor at the Haters Ball.
Okay. All right, players are shuffling up here for game number 3. And if Eduardo Rojas wins this match, it will come down to his teammate Kristen Calbo against Dylan Pettit. And that's Boros versus Brood Scale combo. Now, if that match finishes off camera and Dylan Pettit wins with Brood Scale, we could get an off camera win, but we'll hopefully dodge that.
I will say Pettit's Brood Scale deck is very different than the typical one. This is a Rosy Cotton of South Lane, Heliod, Spike Feeder, Brood Scale combo deck.
It's got them all.
Yeah.
It's got all the combos.
Lots of combos to assemble with Malevolent Rumble and Collected Company.
Cat Cauldron Familiar in it?
No cat, just Selesnya.
Oh, what am I thinking of?
Rosy Cotton, Spike Feeder, Heliod, Guide of Souls.
Which of the hobbits works with the cat?
Samwise.
Samwise, Gamgee. That's a GG.
Samwise GG.
All right. A body, I believe, taking a mulligan here down to 6. Should be starting here in just a moment.
Both these teams at 3-1, looking to win this round and then extend the hand for a shake in round 6 to lock up a spot in the top 8. So very important matches. Rojas back against the wall because the team is down the first match. Needs to win this one to keep those top 8 dreams alive.
Now, good news for Body fans. He is going to be on the play, and he's staying at 6 instead of going to 5. Puts a Haywire Might onto the bottom, I believe.
Yeah, definitely Might to the bottom. I see Saga. I see Mox Amber. I see some blue cards. Hopefully for a body, one of them is a legend to turn on that Mox. And there's a Scalding Tarn for blue mana. There's an Emery. I think this is a turn 1 Emery. Yep.
Yes.
Excellent start for a body. Emery and 2 Mox. And
has an extra mana here with the Mox Amber if he wants to do something with it. And if it's an artifact, then he has another mana from the Mox Opal thanks to Metalcraft. But that's 4 of the 6 cards being deployed right now. And we're going to mill 4 for the Emery and look for Mishra's Bauble or something similar.
This is classic Affinity. Empty your hand on turn 1.
Yeah, but it's all zeros that don't do anything. But in this case, they tap for mana, which is kind of sick.
Not going to be fully empty because one of the remaining cards is a Saga. Mills off of Emery. There's a Bauble.
Yeah, and now Eddie needs removal on turn 1 to kill this Emery, or else it's going to threaten to be a card advantage engine.
Is that a Kappa as the last card, or is it? No, that's a backup Emery.
A backup Emery and an Urza Saga. Here's Elegant Parlor. A big sigh of relief from Gabe Body. He gets to untap with an Emery. Mishra's Bauble comes back. Metalcraft online.
not playing the Saga, trying to play around Wrath of the Skies.
Interesting.
Very interesting play. I suspect the Saga will be played next turn if Ed does not Wrath here on turn 2. But
A
it's not
Wrathy on
even.
turn 2 is not even good.
I know, it's not. So I don't know what a body thinks he's baiting. It's bad bait.
Well, maybe he just wants to make sure he's got the mana to cast something if he draws something to cast with the Urza Saga mana. It's kind of doing double duty, right? Because it could get hit with Wear Terror, it could get hit with Wrath of the Skies, and you just want to make sure that you can use it for mana.
Voice of Victory, not great for a turn 2 play, so Rojas really behind the 8 ball here. It's a body grips 2 cards, one from Bauble, one for turn. I see a Pinnacle Emissary.
Yeah, this one is going to be a nice one, and it's going to be able to go wide a bit on the battlefield. And that's going to essentially force Rojas's hand, if he does have Wrath of the Skies, without actually committing too much for a body.
I believe the other draw for this turn was a second Urza Saga. So now with 2 Sagas, I wouldn't be surprised to see a body deploy 1 and really put Rojas in the squeeze where he needs a Wrath of the Skies to catch back up.
All right, so we're going to go for the new creature, whose name escapes me.
Pinnacle Emissary.
Pinnacle Emissary, and then Dispatch on this Voice of Victory.
Was Dispatch the other card drawn? Not another Saga?
I don't see a second Saga. I was just
Okay.
letting you say it. I don't know. I think it's Metallic Rebuke, Emissary, Emery, Saga, Dispatch. Body consulting with teammates here. One teammate has finished the match, so could be playing Two-Headed Giant.
So this could be Saga, use Saga, or play Mishra's Bauble, use Mox Opal, Amber, Saga to play Emissary, then Dispatch. You wouldn't
Well,
get
it looks
any
like
value to the Emissary.
he's going to warp the Emissary so he can hold up Metallic Rebuke.
Okay, I like that. I like that.
All right, so we get a token. This is a 1/1 drone.
Yeah, you also get a drone out of it this way, since to hardcast the Emissary, you would have needed red from the Opal. And then makes white with the Dispatch.
Yeah. Now, something like Goblin Bombardment could have been really bad for a body if Eddie had it next turn, thanks to the Mobilize.
Yeah, this is a great setup. Now has the answer to a potential Wrath of the Skies, so a body's patience giving him, at the very least, peace of mind. He would have had to pass the turn last turn if he played Saga and been very nervous that he would have faced another blowout like he did in Game 2. Instead, plays patiently and now should feel very comfortable about his spot in this game. He's laughably far ahead on the battlefield. He has ways to generate additional card advantage, and he has ways to deal with pressure, and he has ways to stop Ed's best play. So, yeah, really everything going for a body here in Game 3 looks much more like Game 1.
I believe that's a Wrath of the Skies, and that's
Okay.
going to warrant action. That's Metallic Rebuke with Improvise, and that's going to stop the powerful sweeper. We're going to go back to a body, sacking this bauble, so we're going to get to draw an extra.
More than peace of mind coming from that play by a body. Really avoided a blowout because the Wrath of the Skies was there. So well played for Gabe.
All right, so now we have a decision. We can cast the Emissary from the Warp Zone, or we can just make Urza Saga tokens.
Oh, it's construct tokens all day.
I don't know. Wrath of the Skies with no energy at this point clears the token and the Saga, but it doesn't clear the 3/3 body.
3/3 is always going to be there.
Except when your lands get blown up and you can't cast anything anymore.
Still going to be there.
Yeah, but you can't cast it. You could have it in play, is what I'm saying. And then
This might also just be lethal. You make 2 constructs and get Lavaspur Boots. There's already 4 artifacts in play. Emery can...
I think he also drew another Metallic Rebuke.
Yeah. Yeah, this is just lethal with 2 constructs.
Okay. Here's Ocelot Pride and Seasoned Pyromancer. I think a body might just want to snap this off, but
Yeah, he can make a construct and still rebuke. Because you leave one of the Moxen untapped, and then you have Mox, Construct, Bauble. You improvise with the Bauble and the Construct.
maybe he doesn't see make Construct first. You have to make Construct first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
then you get to use the construct for mana. So it looks like he only has access to 5 mana if you count the artifacts, untapped artifacts as 1. But because of the construct, he has access to 6, which is enough to make construct and rebuke.
Okay,
He sees
it. Cool. Even if he didn't see it, maybe teammates saw it, and so now we're gonna have Seasoned Pyromancer get stopped, and now the constructs are gonna come in hitting hard.
Needs a mana to be able to portable hold the blocker in order to make this lethal. I'm not sure he found it.
Yeah, I don't think so. Had to keep the Mishra's Bauble untapped or unsacrificed in order to get it last turn.
But makes another construct. Now search with the Saga.
Yeah, I mean, look, you just suit up the second construct, put the Lava Spur boots on it, you force a chump block from Eddie. Even if he has Wrath of the Skies, you have so much to rebuild from.
And Wrath would still be devastating. You would be left with a land. But there's only one Wrath of the Skies left in Ed's deck, so...
Looks like we're going to go for...
Shadow Spear?
Yeah. Could be a sided out Lava Spur boots kind of situation, which I think is reasonable in the matchup.
I think Abadi's plan here is also just to clear out the blocker and attack, and now he wants a way to get past future blockers as opposed to just going faster, since it's not lethal anyway.
All right, Tormod's Crypt. One of these constructs cannot attack. Okay. And big attack coming.
Yeah. The drones do fly, so Ocelot Pride cannot block that. It's what, 2, 4, 7, 8 artifacts.
Eddie gonna jump in front with the Ocelot Pride, taking 1 but gaining 1, so staying at 15. And now Body gonna crack Mishra's Bauble to draw him an extra card. Periphery nodes?
It's definitely not Porphyry nodes. And Gabe is laughing about it, so can't be too problematic.
All right. Draws a card from Bauble. Eddie in tough spot.
You know,
I
I think if Gabe was going to play this turn slow, it might have been better off for him to bauble with his Saga trigger on the stack. Because if he sees Wrath of the Skies, he probably doesn't want to make a construct. He'd probably rather get the Pinnacle Emissary on the board.
Oh, this is the new card that brings back creatures of mana value up to 3.
Scout for survivors, so...
And the Tormod's Crypt is going to eat it up.
And that should be game here for Gabe Abadi. And game means match, and match means other match.
Yeah, nicely done. Team Abadi, Pettit, and Glendening take it down over Kristen, Eddie, and RJ. So they're going to move to 4-1 now after that victory, which is going to put them in prime position to draw next round into the top 8 teams. But yeah, that's round 5.